You're stacking dinner plates in a warm kitchen. The burger tasted normal. The evening felt ordinary. Then, long after bedtime, your skin starts burning. That timing is the strange part. Most food allergies arrive fast. Alpha-gal syndrome can wait, quietly, for 2 to 6 hours. So the steak at 6 can become the hives at midnight. The pork barbecue can look innocent until your body starts connecting dots later. Alpha-gal is a sugar molecule found in most mammals, but not people. After certain tick bites, the immune system may start treating it like a threat. CDC describes alpha-gal syndrome as a serious allergy linked to tick bites, with reactions after red meat or other mammal-derived products. The story starts with a bite so small most people never notice it. A dot on the ankle, a speck behind the knee. Pause. Then weeks later, dinner changes, not every time, not the same way, and that inconsistency is one reason people get missed. CDC says symptoms usually appear 2 to 6 hours after exposure to alpha-gal containing foods or products, which makes the trigger harder to recognize. Think about that delay. You may blame the dessert, the stress, the detergent, or nothing at all. The burger has already left the scene. Possible symptoms include hives, stomach pain, vomiting, diarrhea, trouble breathing, swelling, dizziness, a drop in blood pressure, and anaphylaxis. If symptoms feel severe, especially breathing trouble, swelling, faintness, or rapidly spreading hives, consider emergency care. Allergic reactions can escalate quickly. But many episodes are murkier. A night of itching, a stomach that rebels, a racing heart that settles before anyone connects it to dinner. From 2010 through 2022, CDC identified more than 110,000 suspected U.S. cases, while estimating as many as 450,000 people may be affected. That estimate matters because alpha-gal syndrome is not nationally notifiable, and CDC notes underdiagnosis is likely. In plain English, the official count may be the visible shoreline. The actual tide could reach much farther inland. A 2023 CDC MMWR analysis found 90,018 people with positive alpha-gal EE tests from 2017 through 2022. Those suspected cases clustered in southern, midwestern, and mid-Atlantic states, overlapping areas where Lone Star ticks are established or reported. Softly, Lone Star ticks are tiny, but their footprint is expanding in people's lives, yards, trails, brush lines, hunting camps, and gardens. CDC says most U.S. alpha-gal cases are associated with bites from Lone Star ticks, though other tick species may also play a role. Researchers still do not fully understand why one person develops alpha-gal syndrome after a bite, while another walks away unchanged. CDC describes alpha-gal syndrome as involving IgE antibodies to alpha-gal, an immune pattern clinicians can evaluate with symptoms and testing. If reactions repeatedly happen after mammalian meat, dairy, gelatin, or certain products, consider asking a clinician or allergist whether alpha-gal testing fits your pattern. The food list can surprise people. Beef is obvious, pork and lamb maybe. Venison, gelatin, dairy, and some medical products feel less intuitive. CDC notes reactions can follow exposure to red meat, dairy products, gelatin, and mammal-derived ingredients used in some medications or medical products. That does not mean everyone should remove whole food groups. Nutrition can get complicated, so consider medical guidance before making long-term changes. CDC says not everyone with alpha-gal syndrome reacts to every product containing alpha-gal, and sensitivity can vary from person to person. That variability can make the condition feel slippery. One meal causes nothing. Another meal, maybe fattier, larger, or later, brings a reaction. CDC lists symptom timing from 2 to 6 hours after eating meat or dairy products, but reactions can differ across episodes. So imagine explaining this at an appointment. Dinner made me sick 4 hours later. That sounds strange until you know the mechanism. Alpha-gal travels with fat through digestion. That slower pathway may help explain why the immune alarm rings late, not immediately. Breath. If you suspect this pattern, a simple symptom diary may help. What you ate, when symptoms started, outdoor exposure, and tick bites. Bring that pattern to a healthcare professional. It may help them decide whether alpha-gal IgE testing or referral makes sense. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine. Now let's turn from dinner back to the bite, because prevention is where you have the most control before the story starts. CDC's tick guidance recommends using EPA-registered insect repellents and following product instructions when spending time in tick habitats. Before hikes, gardening, camping, or hunting, consider repellent as part of your routine, like water, shoes, and checking the weather. CDC also recommends treating clothing and gear with products containing 0.5% permethrin or buying pre-treated items for longer protection. Permethrin is for gear, not skin. Consider shoes, socks, pants, tents, and packs, especially if you spend hours in brush. CDC advises walking in the center of trails and avoiding wooded or brushy areas with high grass and leaf litter when possible. On a trail, that means fewer shortcut scrambles through grass. In the yard, it means noticing the brush line before you kneel down. After coming indoors, CDC recommends checking clothing for ticks and tumbling dry clothes on high heat to kill attached ticks. Make the doorway your checkpoint. Shoes off, socks checked, pants inspected. It sounds fussy until it becomes a 30-second habit. CDC recommends showering within 2 hours after coming indoors, which may help wash off unattached ticks and makes a tick check easier. After a hike or garden session, consider shower first, scrolling later. That tiny order change can protect the rest of your evening. CDC advises full-body tick checks after outdoor exposure, especially under arms, in hair, around ears, waist, legs, and behind knees. Use a mirror or ask someone you trust. Ticks like hidden folds and warm edges, not the places you naturally notice first. For kids, turn it into a routine, not a scare. Bath, pajamas, tick check story. Calm repetition beats panic. CDC says the best way to protect yourself and your family from developing alpha-gal syndrome is to prevent tick bites. That message can feel almost too simple, but for alpha-gal, the tick bite is the doorway. Fewer bites means fewer chances. CDC's MMWR called alpha-gal syndrome a growing clinical and public health concern in the United States. Growing does not mean inevitable. It means awareness needs to travel faster than the ticks do, especially in places where cases are rising. If you live in or visit high-tick areas, consider talking with your family about prevention before the weekend starts, not after bites happen. Pack long pants for berry picking. Tuck socks during yard work. Keep repellent near the gardening gloves, not buried in a closet. Warmly. And if this episode helps you spot a pattern, share it or subscribe. Someone else may be blaming the wrong dinner. There is another reason sharing matters. Many clinicians are still learning what alpha-gal looks like outside textbook allergy timing. CDC notes diagnosis can involve a history of compatible symptoms, exposure to ticks, and blood testing for alpha-gal specific IgE antibodies. Try describing timing clearly. What you ate, when symptoms began, whether alcohol or exercise was involved, and whether you had recent tick exposure. You are not trying to solve the case alone. You are giving your clinician better clues, especially when the reaction happened hours later. CDC says people with alpha-gal syndrome should work with healthcare providers to learn which foods and products to avoid. If you receive a diagnosis, consider asking about emergency planning, medication ingredients, vaccines, and procedures, because mammal-derived components can appear in unexpected places. That is where alpha-gal becomes more than a meat allergy. It can touch restaurants, travel, prescriptions, and the quiet assumptions built into daily life. CDC lists gastrointestinal symptoms, skin symptoms, respiratory symptoms, and cardiovascular signs among possible alpha-gal reactions. Because reactions can be serious, consider asking your clinician whether carrying prescribed emergency medication is appropriate for your personal risk. The hopeful part is not that the science is finished. It is that the pattern is becoming easier to name. CDC says alpha-gal syndrome has been reported in many U.S. areas, with suspected cases especially concentrated across several eastern and central regions. Some of that rise may reflect better awareness and testing. Some may reflect changing tick exposure. The honest answer is likely both. So hold the uncertainty carefully. Do not panic after every bite. Do take prevention seriously, especially if outdoor exposure is part of your life. Here is the faster health move before going outside. Cover skin when practical. Use repellent. Stay centered on trails and plan the after check. When you come back, clothes check, shower, body check. Simple sequence, small friction, potentially big difference. And if dinner has been making you mysteriously sick hours later, do not dismiss your own pattern. Bring it into the light. Ask about alpha-gal syndrome. Ask whether testing fits. Ask how to protect nutrition, medications, and peace of mind while you sort it out. A tick bite can be tiny. The clues afterward can be scattered. But noticing the timing may change the whole investigation. Next time you head into grass, woods, or garden beds, take the extra minute. Your future dinner may thank you.